faces.
You sick for this one.
Don't you, baby, don't you, baby, don't you, baby, don't you. Come on, baby, come on, baby, come on, baby, don't you. Come on, baby, come on, baby, come on, baby, don't you. Don't you, baby, don't you, baby, don't you, baby, don't you. Come on, baby, come on, baby, come on, baby, don't you. Come on, baby, come on, baby, come on, baby, don't you. Don't you, baby, don't you, baby, don't you, baby, don't you. Come on, baby, come on, baby, come on, baby, don't you. Come on, baby, come on, baby, come on, baby, don't you. Don't you, baby, don't you, baby, don't you, baby, don't you. Come on, baby, come on, baby, come on, baby, don't you. Come on, baby, come on, baby, come on, baby, don't you.
Cash rules everything around me. Green, get the money. Dollar, dollar bill, yo. Cash rules everything around me. Green, get the money. Dollar, dollar bill, yo.
Is this on? Oh, there we go. Hey, hey. Oh, don't trip. I almost tripped. You're not gonna trip. Damn. For all the, I love it. All my hip hop buzz. Taking a picture of Lauren taking a picture. And your cousin too. Ow. Welcome to our friends online and our friends in the building. We gonna get started if you willin'. I'm illin' and I'm chillin'. 1 minute. I can't hear myself. I need more 808. I don't know. Good morning. It's morning. Happy Saturday. How we doing? Appropriately caffeinated? Not yet. For folks coming in, we're gonna ask you if you can bring it in. Bring it in. Bring it in. Bring it in. Online, drop it in the Q&A. We've disabled the chat, so we can't do drop it in the chat. No, drop it in the Q&A. Yeah, this is me stalling. We all know how well I do with that. For those that were with us last night at our kickoff, we're gonna keep that good energy going and flowing. So I'm just gonna say welcome. This is the 6th, like 6 minutes Dougie Fresh we're on. This is the 6th annual Can't Stop Hip Hop Conference here at the Harvard Graduate School of Education. You are in for a treat. Yeah, clap it up. A woot, that's impressive. I don't have a woot yet. Catch me after 11 a.m., the vocal cords still warming up. So we are gathered here today to do what we do, which is celebrate and uplift hip hop culture. I will go through a spiel in a bit around why we're gathering here, doing this at this place. But it's a hip hop conference, so we gotta start it off with the art. But before we do that, I'll do a couple of like obligatory housekeeping things. For our folks that are here in the building, if you need to use a restroom, they are to my right, your left, through that door, straight through the hallway. We have water fillers around the side. We want you to stay hydrated because you're gonna need a lot of energy today. So I'll say some really important things, which is I'm grateful that we get to be here, and also knowing that we're here here in Cambridge, Massachusetts, is on the land of the Massachusetts people. We want to always be lifting up those whose names and cultures have been erased and co-opted. We know that we have to make sure that we're always honoring and citing roots. We also want to lift up all the folks of color, Black folks and other folks of color whose labor has gone unnoticed. Up until now, we know that Harvard has recently released its report, and we just want to acknowledge that we know that there were hands of folks who built this whole country, who built this institution, and we don't want to erase that. We know hip hop itself was forged out of taking what little remnants were left and flipping it and reverse it. So we do not participate in the culture of erasure and the culture of non-citation. To cite Dr. Eve Tuck, citation is decolonization. So we practice citing where things come from. So we'll also do some of that in a bit to make sure folks understand that how this conference came about. There's a history behind that, and we want to make sure that people know, right? So I just want to say those things and get this party started. I'm going to use some old school tech. It's a clicker button. I think in a few years, everybody's just gonna be like, blink, and whatever it is, it'll just advance to the next slide, the next track. But before we do that, we wanna just get a heat check. How we feeling? Got some, yeah, I'm still not there, yo. Like, I need some honey lemon right here in my throat. How we doing online? Yeah, I feel it. The Q&A is just like uproarious. It's an uproar. I love that Swiss Beach joint. Brooklyn is live in the chat. Brooklyn is always live. Like, you can't be like, I'm from New York, but really you're from Brooklyn. I feel like that gets you to sound, I don't know, I'm from St. Louis. Is St. Louis live anywhere? Where we got? Where's New Jersey? You got any New Jersey folk in the building? Got a hearty thumbs up. That's how we're repping Jersey, just the thumbs up? Dang. Come on, I was like, man, he'd give a little, a halfway air horn. Not a but a Do we have California in the building? Hey. Come on in. Welcome, friends. Welcome, friends. Where's our southern folks at? If you from that south, hey, I know we got some rattlers in the building. We got some take your shirt off, wave around your head like a helicopter, North Carolina in the building. Any more Midwest people? Hey, Midwest, all the states are shaped like boxes, but that's okay. Cleveland. Ow, ow. Midwest just walking in. There we go. I love it. We hype in the Midwest. Don't get it twisted. We're oddly in the middle, but not the middle at the same time. But we've got flavor. And then East Coast, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Vermont, where you at? Pennsylvania? No, I'm being deliberate. Rhode Island? No, sideways, Delaware. Rhode Island, hey. Okay, New York. Let's get Pacific like the ocean. Brooklyn. Bronx. Are there any other places to cite in New York? I mean, just kidding. Queens. What's that? The Caribbean? There we go. Okay. If you're in the building, you're in the building. All your places are important. Okay, that was a heat check. Manny Faces, how we feeling? Feeling good? Feeling ready? We are blessed to be having the one and the only Manny Faces with us. Yeah. I thought that you were gonna give me like an air horn or something. I just want an air horn. I like cliche.
Manny Faces.
You sick for this one.
Boom, level up. All right, so we in the building. We feeling good. We feeling lovely. It's Saturday morning. Congratulations, you did something before 10 a.m. You got here. So to get things started today, we're gonna have some words from one of our, I wanna call them the unofficial, official poet laureates of the Graduate School of Education. It's one of Hip Hop X's programming fellows for the year. And, the low tech isn't teching with me. Boom, okay. Yeah, this is unrehearsed. You're welcome. Jarvis Subia is one of our programming fellows. If anybody's been in conversation with us throughout the year, he's been doing some of that correspondence. He also has the best birthday in the world. I'm not subjective, but it's March 15th. You know how we do, Pisces Nation. But more than that, Jarvis is an incredible human being and poet, and he's gonna get things started this morning with some words. Put your hands together. Put your your Zoom emojis together for Jarvis Subia. Whichever one you want. Oh.
You can turn it up. I like a mic stand. The poet in me. Hello. Good morning. Y'all are here. Yes. Cool. I'm gonna do this poem for y'all. I think it's a really, especially given the context and the theme of this year's conference, Culture of Tomorrow Today, thinking of the future, thinking of the things to come, and like the things we're going to move forward into post-conference, right? Getting all this knowledge, all this information, and then bringing it back to like our communities, our work, the things we're doing. So I am a firm believer that you could start your new year at any moment. Let's go. Doesn't have to be the first of the year, doesn't have to be your birthday, doesn't have to be, I don't know, tax season. I don't know if that's the beginning of the year point for somebody. I'm trying to think of like dates. Graduation, as few folks in the room are about to experience, including myself. Yeah, so I'm a firm believer we could start our new year at any moment, so I invite you all to start a new year with me today. Let's go. Y'all, can we do that? Let's do it. This is gonna be the year of movement, right? The year I learned to dance publicly like nobody is watching. The year of, sorry. Bring it back. The year I learned to dance publicly if nobody is watching. The year of hips and cumbia, of percussion in my ceaseless heartbeat. This be the year I allow the music to consume me till I birth back as a song. This is gonna be the year of travel. The year I learned to leave here and return for what is not worth letting go. The year I learned self-care and self-indulgence. This be the year the monarch gets live and flutters out the cocoon. You better recognize an emperor in new clothes so you can see all that I am when bass breaks through throat and becomes soul. All right? Check it. This is gonna be the year I ask for all of my clothes back. It is, it is. And the year I give back all the people I've become clothing for. This is gonna be the year of friendship and all the different faces of love. The year I try a little tenderness. The year I open my heart and say you are allowed to live here, even if you choose not to stay. The year I am continued to be reminded that Jack could have survived the Titanic. You know he could have. Some of the young people might not get that reference. It was a movie, it was a big thing. He could have survived if he had not known how violent his own heart could be. This is gonna be the year of passion and spring. The year I learned to wear flowers in bloom. The year of Ocean and Mercury and Keys. The year of Simone and Santana and Beyonce. The year I learned to cut and scratch the record of my life. The year I remix, rebirth, and revolution. This is gonna be the year I learned my voice as power and change, as symbol and circumstance, as my own name and gift. This is gonna be the year I learned to become student, then teacher, then student again, then all at once. The year I learned to hear you even when you were not speaking. The year I learned to make more use of my ears and my mouth. The year I learned word economy and not volume. This is gonna be the year we run wild to know what can never be tamed. The year we become unabashful, unapologetic, unbroken. The year I forgive myself and learn I didn't need to. This is gonna be the year I celebrate myself, I sing myself. The year that we learn all the words we have been searching for. The year of becoming. The year you will finally, y'all, the year you will finally meet each other. The year that we are going to love so much. Thank y'all, I appreciate it. Y'all gonna have a great time today. Back to Miss Aisha Upchurch.
Hey, put it together one more time. I'm calling it official, unofficial poet laureate. All right, so what I want to do is, because we're going to get started with a pretty ridiculous panel of dopeness. But before we do that, I want to just give folks a quick little history lesson on, particularly at the Ed School, hip hop, its presence here, and how it's continued to evolve. So we're gonna go through this quickly, but I think it's important to cite how we got here. So back in the day, and one of our amazing folks from our IT team witnessed this, but back in 1997, there was a very packed standing room only event in this space with Chuck D and Cornel West. So that's 1997, I don't do math well. But something was here, some folks were here, some energy was here that said this conversation that's gonna not put hip hop on the side needs to be happening as we're gonna talk about education, right? So some stuff happened, we don't know what, but then in 2013, his name is LeBron James, shout out. It's not that LeBron James, but a different LeBron James, a student here, had his own thing going and grooving with hip hop and mathematics. And they covered his curriculum that he developed around hip hop and math. And he called himself the Math Man. So again, there's something, every year there are students who are coming through this door who have this experience. In 2014, the homie, the big brother, Chris Emden was the keynote for the annual Alumni of Color Conference. Shut it down, just like, you know, how Chris does. If you haven't witnessed Chris in person, it's probably gonna happen soon. So that happens in 2014, right? 2014, 2015, I personally knew that things were happening at the Ed School with hip hop, but there hadn't been any documentation. And I was a student here that year, and through the power of persistence, not annoyance, kept saying like, when are we gonna do something? And the tables got flipped and said, well, let me help you. And that person saying that was Steve Seidel, yes, relation to Sam Seidel. And that spring we held a hip-hop education cipher where we had Sam Seidel and Angel Newman come in and share with people like, if you've never heard of hip-hop education, you should get ready to listen, right? So fast forward, I think that we're out of order here, but that's okay. The next school year, in this photo, you'll see crouching at the bottom is Dr. Darren Graves, who's also on faculty here, and woo, yep. Part of the whole hip hop eds movement. But he helped bring, along with the gentleman in the top, that's Dr. Mike Lipset, who's another alum of the space. Those are the students from the High School for the Recording Arts, sometimes called Hip Hop High. They came here and did workshops And so again, this is student-led energy that's happening. Later that year, where Muslim Don't Panic came and did a talk and workshops on hip hop, the hijab, and Muslim, in the intersection with Islam. And it was amazing and super dope. And then the next year, this conference started, and it started with these 5 students. They were like, what happens if we just gather, because we know people like listening to hip hop music and chopping up the lyrics, and think about how does that intersect with education. So in that year, these 5 students launched a day-long symposium. Myself and Steve Seidel realized we need to keep creating space for these students that are coming around every year, doing something, and then there's nothing to hold it. So we launched, oh, there are the rest of those photos. Great, 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 awesome, 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 awesome. Should also say that same year that we did the conference, Dr. Bettina Love was the keynote speaker of the AOCC conference. She was also a Nas Sear Jones Hip Hop Fellow. And so we have conferences that are going on. We did the second conference in 2017, 2018. In 2018, 2019, secured funding to start Hip Hop X so that we could support students in their inquiry so they didn't have to start from scratch and not know what's attached to before. And in our first year, we had a multi-generational classroom with high school students. Every 2 weeks, we met high school students and graduate students because hip hop puts people of different ages together, right? We had a conference that year, and our young people helped change the name of the conference to what it is now, Can't Stop Hip Hop, right? Their input was, don't have 2-hour workshops because young people think that's too long. We were like, you're right. So just again, we want to always be creating space for youth input. You know, COVID was like, psh, you ain't gonna meet in person. We was like, psh, we gonna meet online. So 2020, we took it to the streets for 2 weeks. Last year, we did 3 days online, and now here we are. So just want to say all of that so people understand that the whole function of Hip Hop X is to be a place where students who have interest can have some institutional support to help continue celebrating and elevating the role of hip hop in education. And this year, along with Jarvis, another one of our fellows is Marcus Sherman. And just a few weeks ago, he put on an incredible outdoor concert featuring all Chinese hip hop music that was a super sick lituation. And so I want you to put your hands together for Marcus Sherman, who's gonna introduce our panelists.
How y'all doing? How we doing on Zoom? Yeah, exactly. Gotta represent for the brothers and sisters and all the folks who are not able to be here with us in person, but it is so wonderful to see all of your beautiful faces right here in this room for the first time in a long time. So definitely excited to get it kicked off. And I think, you know, you don't want to hear me talk, we want to hear our panelists talk. So I'm just gonna go ahead. Sorry, we have a performance before the panel. Live theater. So we're gonna improv it all the way back. And before we get it kicked off with the panel, we have our first performance of the day. And it's gonna be our great good homie, Randy Mason, who's gonna come up and absolutely blow y'all off the stage, get some energy rocking in here before we kick it off for the day. So I just wanna welcome up Randy to the stage. Please follow him on all social media. I love to plug, you know, make sure we can stay up on everything after, but.
Yeah, what's going on, y'all? Appreciate
Welcome,
you,
Randy.
brother. What's going on, everybody? Y'all can hear me? All right, I can't hear you, but I'm gonna assume that y'all can hear me. Let's see if I can open the Q&A. All right, cool. Yo, what's going on? My name is Randy Mason, and I'm excited to be here. I'm bummed that I couldn't be in the place in person this year, but it's all good. I'm a hip hop artist and a teaching artist out of New York City, out of the Bronx, and I work at an organization called Thrive Collective, where we create hope and opportunity in and around New York City public schools through the arts and mentoring. And specifically in relation to hip hop, we run a program called RHYME, which stands for Rhymes Help Young Minds Excel. And it's an educational hip hop music and mentoring program that teaches mic skills and life skills to young people around the city. And so yeah, I'm gonna kick a couple rhymes. Is that cool? Word. I heard everybody cheering. I heard everybody saying it's cool. I really can't hear y'all, but I imagine it is hype and it's lit in the room. So we're gonna get right into it, y'all. But let's make sure we get the mic and the sound right. Let's see if y'all could jump in it. Somebody could jump in the chat or the Q&A and let me know if y'all can hear. Oh, y'all can't hear anything because I gotta share my sound first. All right, let's do that. How about that? All right. So yeah, we doing this live in the place to be. So I can't share my screen while the other participant is sharing. So if the tech folks want to hook that up, we could do it. If not, I'm gonna jump into some acapella rhymes. All right. Oh, boom. Thank you for answering me in the Q&A. We can hear you on Zoom. This is so awkward. I can't see y'all. I can't hear y'all, but it's all good. I'm excited to be here. All right, I'm gonna give it about 10 seconds, see if I can share this screen. Oh, stop. Do you want to see? Okay, boom. Excellent. Boom. Boom. Y'all so patient. I appreciate y'all. Share sound. Boom. All right, check. Oh, now I can see y'all. What's good? Yeah, what's going on, y'all? I'll see y'all. That's the energy I needed. Now I feel so much better. That's awesome. Y'all look great. Good morning. Great morning. All right. Let's see if the sound is right. Can y'all hear music? Put your hand in the air if you can hear music. Oh, y'all can hear music. Fantastic. And y'all can hear me too. Okay, perfect. So we're gonna get into it like this. Check it out. I'll make y'all screen bigger so I can see. Okay, somebody's bopping in the front row. I appreciate that with the jean jacket. Check it out. Yo, bright and early kick my feet up in the room. Thoughts growing in my mind like a fetus in the womb. Feed it, let it bloom, tapping my Adidas to the tune. If a thought ain't worth sharing, I'ma lead it to its tomb. Blank sheets of paper just waiting to be consumed. So every single experience is opportune. Nothing new under the sun. How about the moon? Last night was a night I wanna write about soon. Might write about my love and the scent of her perfume, or how it's so cold I wanna write about June. Now what y'all wanna hear? Yo, I never assume I know what I need to express, so it's best I resume. I take 5 like Maroon, then come back to rap on the bap in a boom spot. Lyrics in the sky like balloons, something like a butterfly. Once was a caterpillar up in a cocoon. Hey. I appreciate y'all. I gotta make y'all screen bigger. Let's see if I can pin this joint. Hey, there we go. Nothing, turn it into something. Then we take something, turn it into everything. I'ma take nothing, turn it into something. Then we take something and check it out. Hey yo, everything, it's a fact. All I got, he gave to me, so basically I'm giving back. I was under pressure, tell me how is it I didn't crack? I was out of work, tell me how is it that I didn't lack? Saw my ACL and yet my ligament intact. Surgeon can't explain it, don't even know where my stitches at. Week later out running routes, trying to get a catch touchdown. What now? Tell me how you figure that. Met a man in the park and told him how Jesus did impact my life, and now that brother is basically a living track. Living testimony set free from the devil shop. Yo, picture that, and I wasn't even wearing my fishing hat. People see the family and ask me how many kids is that. See the misses and wonder how we managed to get with that. Lady, maybe because God gave me more than I could ever ask. Steadily and rapping gifts, including the gift of rap. Hey, yeah, Yo, oh man. Y'all looking fresh, y'all looking good. I appreciate the love. Y'all making me want to freestyle because I'm seeing some cool things in here.
Feels like I'm underachieving. Fight the feeling.
Hey.
I need some
So first we'll get into this song. Y'all, check it out. Dig it. And yo, I'm not who I wanna be, not who I used to be. Honestly, I'm open, just trying to grow responsibly. Ironically, my brokenness showed the glow that's inside of me. So if ever I seem lit, it's cause I'm not seamless. Bodily biography is Japanese pottery, kintsugi. My imperfections improve me. It's wild how the world woos me and then wounds me. I ain't offended by what mended, I've been mended. If anybody repenting, then it better be me first. I'm trying to rehearse these hurts in reverse. You do the data and research. Who needs work? That's everybody on God's green earth. Yo, I'm more selfish than selfless. Think less of myself when I should think of myself less. From the youngest to the eldest, it turns out this is a real test. Yes.
You can never be too
And you can never be too late. Hey,
You can never be too
and you can never be too far.
You don't have to be afraid.
So you don't have to be afraid. Go Asia. Hey, hey, hey. Check it out. The past isn't president, so I don't let it govern me. Tomorrow is tentative, so I don't let it trouble me. Today is where the treasure is. The pleasure is discovery. If life be a story, then this might be the summary. Ruptured relationships, ready for recovery. Restless from all of the reckless redundancy, but at least we get a glimpse of the glory enough to keep alive. Open eye, seeing what's in front of me. Listen when my inner ear. Living like the end is near. Still I'm giving, I let it interfere. Looking at my friends win, thinking that it isn't fair. I would never disappear, I would rather disappear. Only one that I had an issue with there. Say the prayer, lie like a dinner prayer. Where I'm going, that is gonna be better there. Hey, and you can never be too late. And you can never be too far. So you don't have to be upright. I love all the heads nodding. Oh man, my man in the blaze on the front. Yo, I'm check it out. Yo, what brother ain't a brother if a brother let another go to war without a sword or providing proper cover? No excuses, bro, it's useless. Can I blame it on another, not a job? A lover, yo, not even bread and butter, not your father, mother, this one, that one, or the other, or the fact that way back in the day, they made you suffer, and they made you suffer. I mean, tougher than a trucker. Probably the reason why you ain't no punk or no sucker. Nah, I ain't trying to judge and know the pressures we be under, trying to make it what you can. What I'm making make me wonder if it's even worth the fact I ain't see you all summer. That's a homicide bummer, a bummer, but I ain't the only one up in the blender making blunders. I missed your birthday, my bad, I messed up with the numbers. We ain't getting any younger, and all we got is each other. So anytime it all calling, I'll be burning rubber.
You can never be too late.
And you can never be too late.
You can never be too far.
And you can never be too far.
You don't have to be afraid.
And you don't have to be afraid. Hey,
I love you right where you are.
yeah.
I love you right where you are.
Yeah. Wow. Yo, man, you guys are amazing. I'm enjoying this very much. I appreciate the energy. Y'all look great. And like I mentioned before, I'm excited to be here, even virtually. Hopefully next year I'll be back in the flesh. So yo, I'm gonna do this one last song, and it's called Move, in the spirit of moving things forward. I wrote this song called Move, and it goes like this. Yeah, check it out. Yo, flight canceled. I called the airline trying to get the refund. They said no, can do. I took my wife out to eat. Literally out. Hey, it was too windy for the candle. Yo, I should make a wish. I got a handful. I should make it quick to wanna ramble. I just want my kids more. Got what I wish for. Turn the whole living room into a classroom. School's closed, still ironing school clothes. Ironic how they still have class when it do snow. Yo, what's the matter with Elko? Who knows? Searching Netflix for new shows. Like Lupin and Lupo, when there is nowhere to go. I mean, yo, mucho kudos. Still got a little light left like Pluto. Oh, I just got to move. 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 Hey, shout out to the young people. Come on, just got to move. I just got to move. I just got to, like Asia move. We just got to move, yo. Predisposed to a sea of woes from being froze, trying to cope with the whole world being closed. Nonetheless, from the mess, yes, we arose. Tell a DJ to play head, shoulders, knees, and toes. Oh, come on and get the blood flowing. I'm trying to figure out where the wind was blowing. I want to follow Christ, but he isn't online like Thomas. I'm just trying to figure where he was going. The blue light eclipse the moonlight. Now you might have to wear glasses tonight. Don't wanna lose sleep or lose sight or be too tight to reach for new heights. So I've been looking over the cubicle to recruit something new from the crucible. Your stagnation, that's inexcusable. I just gotta move it, really any excuse to do. We just got to move, we just got to move, we just got to move, we just got to move. Even in the hey, just got to move, I just got to move, I just got to. Like my friend in the pink, we just got to move, yeah. Yo, hewn out of a tune, the guy once crooned, eliminating limits with lyrics I make room. Staring at the four walls in my room, projecting everything that I want to see soon. The boundaries surrounding me, you're bound to be removed. Couldn't put me in a box, you're not even on Zoom. The devil definitely doomed. Tell me what's the tribune to the triune? Cyclones and typhoons, they come around away most days at high noon. Yo, thanks for the dustpan and the broom, but what am I to do with this here sand dune? Somewhere between the mud and the moon is a mere man amid a monsoon. Yo, food for thought, grab a fork or spoon. Before you know it, we gon' be out like fumes. Just got to move, I just got to move, I just got to move, we just got to move. And everybody in the place said, just got to move, I just got to move, I just got to move, I just got to move. Yeah. Thank you guys, I appreciate y'all. I love all the energy, man. So yeah, that's it. My name is Randy Mason. Thank you for listening. If you guys are interested, I just want to share real quick. One is about the program I mentioned, Rhymes Help Young Minds Excel. I see some young people in the building. I know there's gonna be some young performers and presenters, and we're super excited about that. But you can check out the program by visiting randymason.org/rhyme. Also, you know, being that this is an educational hip hop situation, in honor of Teacher Appreciation Week, you know, we have this merch line. It's called, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but it's Faith, Family, Hip Hop, because these are three things that are super important to me: faith, family, hip hop. Somebody asked me one day, if you had a hashtag for your life, what would it be? And I told them it would be faith, family, hip hop. And so we designed this super dope merch. And for Teacher Appreciation Month, you know, we got a 10% discount. You could just type in the code teacher. Right. So shout out to all the educators. You know, my wife's an educator. I'm an educator. You guys are educators. Shout out to my man, Manny Faces, making sure keeping me on my toes. He dropped that joint in the middle of the song. And I was like, oh, snap. OK, but yo, I appreciate y'all. Much love. Enjoy the rest of the conference. Peace.
Yeah, Randy. All right. Hey, Aisha, one time.
Checking. Everybody give it up for Randy Mason one more time. That as one begins. As one begins to become conscious, one begins to examine the society in which he is being educated. This quote exemplifies what pushes Brandon Foster to fight for equity and access for all students, especially those from communities that have been historically marginalized. Growing up, Brandon loved music and cultivated that love into a sense of purpose, which led him into the classroom and to Hugsy, our very own Hugsy. Brandon Foster, everybody give it up for Brandon Foster coming onto the stage.
Sponsored by Just Blaze and the good folks at Rockefeller Records.
Man's looking sharp in the suit.
It is with the utmost pride and sincerity that I present this recording as a living testament and recollection of history in the making during our generation.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is
All right. That's the intro if I've ever seen one. All right. Well, let's see if Miss Pinky Ring can follow it up. Pinky Ring is a Puerto Rican rapper, author, speaker, and hip-hop educator born and bred in Chicago. Shout outs to Chicago. She's a proud U.S. hip-hop cultural ambassador traveling overseas to manage and facilitate hip-hop diplomacy programming. Outside of music, Pinky hosts workshops and talks with youth and universities nationwide. She became an author in 2020, penning her story for the second volume of Today's Inspired Young Latina, and plays Rosina in The Rosina Project, a hip-hop iteration of the famed opera, The Barber of Seville. She's the recipient of several awards and accolades, but Pinky's most important prize is the legacy she's leaving for all the historically excluded communities in the world. A Latina artist on the rise, Pinky Ring shines bright with the determination to share her story while encouraging others to find their truth, live unapologetically, and tell their story authentically. Please welcome to the stage, Pinky Ring! I think new rule, every panel ever should always have walk-up music. Why is that not a thing already? I don't know. Exactly, that's what we need. And now, you know, these amazing panelists, you know, could really be up here talking all their things by themselves, but we have one of the most valuable hip-hop resources right over here at the tables. Manny Faces is an award-winning journalist, podcast, producer, entrepreneur, and founding director of the Center for Hip Hop Advocacy. As a podcast professional, Manny produces several acclaimed shows, including the award-winning Social Justice Meets Hip Hop podcast, Newsbeat, an interview/cultural commentary show, Hip Hop Can Save America. Can attest, it's a fire podcast. Y'all should all listen to it. I really can't speak enough. Newsbeat was awarded the best podcast at the 2018 and 2021 New York Press Club Journalism Awards and the 2019 and 2020 Society of Professional Journalists PCLI Awards. While Hip Hop Can Save America has been listed as recommended material at the Harvard Graduate School of Education, right here, much of Manny's work focuses on preserving, protecting, and promoting the ability of hip hop music and culture to improve society and uplift humanity, particularly in areas of education, science, technology, health and wellness, politics and social justice, journalism, entrepreneurship, the fine arts, and more. Let's give it up for our amazing moderator, Manny Faces! He's gonna play himself in.
Raz Baraka is the mayor of Newark, New Jersey's largest city.
Manny Faces, like the many-faced God in the building.
Check 1, 2. This is Baby Girl Faces.
Yeah!
Our remote learning, my kindergarten. I'm checking out Manny Faces. That's my dad.
Come on now. Peace. Thank you. One time, man. Thank you for those introductions. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. Hey. What's up? We ready? What's going on, y'all? Thank you for everyone tuned in and turned up with us. This is going to be an exciting talk. Let's get right into it. What I've been told is that we're going to have like a few minutes to kind of introduce ourselves, let people know what we do, how we rock, how we face the world in this hip-hop thing. So we can start in whatever order y'all want. 3 minutes, and then kind of break it down, who you are, and why are you here? Who want to start? Shoot for it. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
I'll go first. You
want to go first? All right.
Yeah, I like opening up the set. All my MCs know that you want to go first or you want to go last. You either want to tear it up or shut it down.
There you go.
Period.
All right. I mean, sure, y'all, I'm sure y'all got it. I got slides. Do I got slides? Is it okay if we slide?
I think there's slides, yes.
Okay, yeah. I'm just going.
Slide to the left. Hey.
We need more dance instructional songs. One thing that I made a goal for myself, y'all hold me to this, is I want to make a dance instructional song in the next year. We don't have, what happened? It's been a while since we had a good chicken noodle soup or something. Hey, so by the way, hi y'all. My name is Dialect. We move to the next slide. Oh, I can do it myself. Yes, I haven't even done this before. There we go. This way. Yes, it's my mother's birthday. Can y'all say happy birthday, Mama-elect?
Happy birthday, Mama-elect.
I appreciate that. Thanks, y'all. So, My mom is black and my dad is white, and it matters for the purposes of this story. I remember when I was a little kid and I was at the white side of the family's picnic or something, and my mom told me not to eat the watermelon in front of my white relatives. And I was like, why? And she was like, I don't know. And I was like, I don't know. Turns out that the watermelon was the tool of our ancestors' economic liberation. The watermelon seeds came from Africa, so folks were familiar with it. Plus, the watermelon could grow in rough patches, in small places. It was something that folks were, after de facto chattel slavery was ended, people were not only able to feed their families, but they were able to take it to market. They were able to sell it and make industry out of it. And white folks hated that. Not the white folks in this room, I'm sure y'all was cool with it, but white folks hated it. They made minstrel shows, they made cartoons, they made prose pieces, poetry, stories, songs about how these were the tools of the lazy and the incompetent, and they did such a good job that over 100 years later, my mom is telling me not to eat this tool of our economic liberation in front of our colonizers. That's the power of art, y'all. Now, we have this silly idea that art is this thing that breaks us out of boxes. And really, what art does is it defines the borders of the box. It tells you the colors, it tells you the shape. For the past 20 years, on stages, in classrooms, in theaters, and street corners, wherever, I've been hip-hopping with heads so we can take these ideas and reverse engineer it for our purposes. It's not that we should be despondent at the idea that art maintains the status quo. It's that we know we can reverse engineer these ideas to make sure we create the realities that we want. This project up here, this is my Museum of Dead Words that was mentioned in the intro. I spent a year researching internet comments to find words that don't work anymore and made rap songs about how they died and created a guided theater tour. And what I found when I've been doing this show all around the country, I was just at the Society for Linguistic Anthropology, these linguists who are digging deep into what words mean and how that matters. We find that the really important thing isn't even words, it's the beat. Rhythm is the first language. Rhythm is the only real language. You see you doing it right now. You're giving that reverberation that make these things real. We use these things in hip hop to take these ideas and put them in people's minds. And one last thing I want to share before I stop talking, because I already feel like I'm talking a little bit too much. For the past 7 years, I've been working with Pockets Change, a hip hop and finance organization where we talk about the realities of finance and how much has been kept from us. We have a song contest where we're asking kids to make rap songs about personal finance. You can go check out websites, holler at me about that. We got prizes and judges and all of that. But the really important thing is to remember that just as the overall economic exploitation that has happened to Americans when you see Uber drivers and Lyft drivers, all of that comes from anti-blackness and black exploitation. Similarly, the way hip-hop artists in particular and musicians in general have been treated are the ways that freelancers and the gig economy is treated right now. So I want y'all to understand these things so we can change the game, whether you consider yourself an artist or not. And a lot of times we're telling each other the things that we kind of know, but just don't give ourselves permission to believe. So we have to, if y'all indulge me to quote myself, we have to preach to the choir so they know what to sing. So that's what we'll be up here doing, y'all. Thank you.
Hey. All right, now. Dialect, next time we start, I need you to come with a little more energy. If that's all right, I don't mind. You know, I don't know if you can do that. I know it's early. Who's next? Madeline. Come on, Malus.
Is this on? Check. Hi, everyone. How's everyone doing this morning? There's a common unconscious assumption that hip-hop street dancers just show up and dance, and while we do show up and show out, really in reality, you know, hours and hours, can I have that a little quicker? Oh yeah. Thank you. Hours and hours go into just cultivating your craft, whether that be dance, whether that be rapping, whether that be, doodling. And that's where the name 10K stands for. Where is it? A little boop, boop, arrow. You try the other one? Oh. There you go. Yeah, so 10,000 hours to excellence in your chosen area of study, really. But 10K is a platform that we're out of Cleveland, Ohio, and we aim to preserve, present, and cultivate hip-hop and street styles through these different program areas of education, performance, events, and consulting. Sorry, I sound a little bit regurgitating here, but yeah, the education component, as you all know, it really permeates like the other three areas. And I'm just gonna refer to my notes here. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, you've all seen this, the fifth element of hip hop, the knowledge component, really, its power, yeah, you've seen it do its thing in terms of wielding its power, the knowledge, right? And that's really why we're here. I'm nervous, y'all.
You got this.
Yes, yes. So what this really means is just the knowledge. It goes beyond just learning some hot moves, you know. So we really want to provide access to movement vocabulary, the cultural lineage of the styles that these dances are social dances, and they're all improvisational, really, by nature, freestyle, if you want to call it that. But you know, you have all of these different genres within the street dance umbrella, so to speak, and hip hop and street styles, depending on who you talk to, is separate but connected. And each style is just really distinct and robust, you know, in and of itself. And we just want to honor that and highlight these styles and how we can. And this is a brief list here of, I guess not a brief list, but a little list of some of the events that 10K Movement has put on the past 3 years. And the main one being, our main summer event, Lords of the Land is short for Cleveland. We had three different tournaments in the main public square downtown. Crump as well. Crump is like a really prevalent style in Cleveland. Shout out to Crump. And shout out to Sam, because we also had popping, and Sam is the founder of 10K, the executive director, and he's a master popper. And the most recent event, this is the photo from that, which we put on with Quickstep and Rockefeller of Full Circle Productions out of New York. And this event really highlighted DJing as a form, as well as breaking in conjunction with one another. And I know I gotta wrap up, but that's about it. We aim to just be a bridge between just one more look at the notes. Thank you. Yeah, just linking our artists, our dancers, and educators to opportunities that are paid, really that reflect the value of the work, and preserving the integrity of the dance via the knowledge. And if that also means bringing on new partners and new audiences that really are truly invested in cultivating the dance forms and the culture, as opposed to just signing on a more of a surface level, but who are really really down to throw down, you know, when it counts. That is, yeah, that's what we're here for. Thank you.
Very good. Very nice. 10K in the building. Brandon?
Yep, definitely. First and foremost, I want to give a shout out to the mothers in the building.
All right. Hey.
Happy Mother's Day. All right, so first I'll just talk about hip hop, right? And I remember growing up in Fort Wayne, Indiana, I was adopted, and it was just me and my mom. She adopted me, she was 45, and it was just me and her. And in our specific neighborhood, there were 8 other black boys, and 7 out the 8, they all had dads, right? So they had that structure. They had a blueprint for identity. I was the one that didn't have one. So it was just me and her. And so I had to use hip hop to cobble together, to cultivate, to curate my identity. And so I remember vividly, my mom, she was 45 at the time. She loved church music, right? She really liked church songs. I really disliked it. right? And I liked hip hop, and she really disliked it. And I remember when it changed, right? For a little bit, we were in the car and we were listening to the radio, and I was like, can I listen to this? And I switched it to it, and I switched the channel to the radio station. And Tupac, Dear Mama came on. And for the first time, my mom didn't make me change it. And I was like, wow, this is something that I could listen to and that my mom would like. And I remember that. And so as you growing up, not having that blueprint, I had to find different ways. So I remember seeing Nas, 8th grade. Nas had this album called I Am. And on the cover, he looks like King Tut. And I remember seeing my history book, and it had King Tut on the cover. Now, before that, it was just black and white images of, the hieroglyphics. So I never knew that the Egyptians were black. So when I put those two and two together, it made me really like history. And so by doing that, I started to research. And I wasn't a good student. I want to tell y'all, I was not a good student. And so, but I always would get an A in history. And I credit that experience to making me feel that I had a place, helped me cultivate my identity. I also remember Nas had, in that same album, he had Is Light, Nas is Light, Earth, Wind, and Fire, Rims and Tires. I was like, wow, look at those similes. Look at those metaphors, right? And from there, then, Jay-Z, he introduced me to Broadway. It's a hard knock life for us. It's a hard knock life for us. And so I was like, wow, yeah, sing-alongs, please. And so I'm cobbling together my identity. And then after that, you had Cameron. Oh boy, he taught me how to dress. I was wearing pink for about a month straight. And I'm telling you, I can't understand it now. And I hope there's not a lot of pictures, but I definitely had a pink tall tee. And it came down to my knees, right? Yes. And I had these big fake earrings that I got from TJ Maxx with a bucket hat. And I was like, yeah, you couldn't, right? And then, when I put that outfit on, I just felt so fresh, so clean. Yeah. Talk to me, right? So when you think about hip hop, it was my vehicle. I had never been on a plane before, but I got to experience Atlanta. I got to experience New York, right? I got to see that. And when I was fresh and clean, the next thing I wanted to do was I wanted to talk to a girl. I wanted to be able to communicate. But without that blueprint, where do you turn to? And then I remember hearing this song. He said, I never had a love like this. Had to be something for me to write this. Queen, I ain't seen you in a minute. I wrote this letter. Finally decided to say it. Come on. Man, I heard that. I went right there. I'm glad, we talk about citations. I hope Common not listening because I didn't cite him at all. I wrote that. Come on. And I sent that, do you like me? She said no. And then I came to my next song, which was Song Cry. Right? Yeah. And so I remember those things, just cultivating my identity and getting it together. And when I had it, it became, I was a poet, right? I was like, I want to be a rapper. I knew how to dress. I knew how to talk to a woman. I thought, I had different things. And what really helped me is listening to Mos Def. He had this song called My Umi. Said, shine your light on your world. Shine it for the world to see. I want my people to be free, to be free, to be free. I want my... Come on. So I heard that and I started going from to love. And I started listening to love, and I started loving hip hop. And then my #1 album that made me absolutely love hip hop, because it was what gave me my purpose, was Common, the B album, right? And at the end, when you hear the kids and they say, I want to be an astronaut, I want to be a physics, I want to be a duck, right? I want to be this. Just those different things that let you know how powerful the word be is, right? And so I think be is awesome when it's an action verb. That's cool. But it's even more powerful when it's a linking verb, when you link in your identity to your purpose, right? And so that really, really helped me. That really, really resonated with me. And so those are the things that really helped me cobble together my identity, cultivate it, curate it, and gave me the purpose. And for the young people, I feel like when you have an identity and you have a purpose, then you have a direction and you have a means to accomplish your dream. So a little background, then I'm going to go. I graduated 412 out of 437. I'm not good at math either, but I know graduating with that, I'm not supposed to be here, a doctoral student at Harvard. Thank you. I appreciate that because I learned that my place was in the classroom, and it was the first place I really experienced success. And I brought hip hop in the classroom to make students think. And so now my last part, I think about hip hop and what I'm trying to do. You know, liberate through math and just liberate. Right? You have you have love, you have liberate. In the book ended to all the mothers. In the book ended with the women. Right? It was like Tupac when he said, we have to stop. We have to listen to the ladies. We got to respect the ladies that make the babies. And since a man can't create one, he has no right to tell a woman when and where to create one. And we think about Roe versus Wade and how prophetic those words were. So that's what I try to do. I'll be in Ferguson. I'll get to experience that community, and I'm excited just to be able to work there. And that's my work. How do we take hip hop and link identity and purpose to give directions and dreams? Thank you.
All right now. Yes, indeed.
How y'all doing?
Headlining, Miss Pinky Ring, let's go.
Good morning. Can I have the clicker? Is the clicker hanging out somewhere? Click it. All right. So I just want to say that we got to shout out the DJ. Without the DJ, we are nothing. And I'm grateful that he played Big Pun 100% for me because we're talking about story and like what influenced you. But I just want to make a side note that it was between that and Still Not a Player. And I just didn't want all my boyfriends to think that I'm still living that life. You know what I'm saying? So we picked 100%. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to all of y'all. I love you each equally. All right, y'all, my name is Pinky Ring, and just my name, when we're talking about story and talking about who you are and your identity, like as rappers, we're given our birth name, but then we get to create this sort of alter ego in another person. So my rap name is Pinky Ring with the Q, because rappers like to spell things just however we feel like it. But just so you know, the Q stands for Queen, okay? Ow. And it's funny because my dad calls me Ringy Pinky. Because for some reason, he can't pronounce pinky ring, but he can pronounce ringy pinky. And so he will go into the corner store, the laundromat, and with all the pride he can muster in his Puerto Rican body, Mira, do you know my daughter? Ringy pinky? And I'm like, they don't because it's pinky ring. And if they don't know, okay. I show you on YouTube, and he got to close one eye, right, and scroll through. He will make these people sit through all of my music videos. And the purpose of sharing that story is that they definitely did not support me. Imagine coming from Puerto Rico to the United States, busting your ASS to make it in this country, and then your daughter's like, great. I'm gonna be a rapper, right? And so they had no idea what that meant or financially or for my future. And so it's so beautiful now that my dad will go into these spaces and places and like claim me when at a point that was not what they wanted for me. And at the end, it's really just to get a discount, you know what I'm saying? But make it do what it do. So when I think of my story, I would like break it down into chapters. And the first chapter, everyone say, hey, baby Pinky. Hey, baby Pinky. So contrary to popular belief, I was not born with this awesome pink and purple hair. I'm actually a redhead and literally a Puerto Rican unicorn, like with red hair. Who even? So they used to call me Fosforito when I was a little girl. Everyone say that with me, Fosforito. Fosforito. And it means little matchstick. And literally because of my hair, but also because I was a fire. So speaking of me? Never. I'm actually very introverted, right, Aisha? She knows we're the introverted gang. And so the funny thing about that is that like I was raised Pentecostal. And I don't know if I already see some wincing, I'm sorry. Let's just take a moment for the Pentecostals in here. So if you don't know what that means, I couldn't cut my hair, color my hair, couldn't paint my nails, couldn't wear jewelry, couldn't wear pants, because pants are for men. You have to wear long skirts down to the floor, right? And so that was extremely traumatizing for me because I couldn't form my own identity. It was given to me. It was like, this is who you are. This is who you're going to be. And you can't question it. And like the fosforito fire that I was questioning everything. What do you mean every other religion is going to hell? That doesn't make any sense, right? What do you mean I can't wear pants? It's just pants. So now I'm like the spawn of Satan because I got colored hair and piercings and tattoos. And so this little girl, though seemingly outwardly happy in this picture, I didn't want to wear this dress, by the way, and the little berets in the hair, it was not it for me. And so this girl, seemingly happy that you see in this photo, was actually riddled with a lot of trauma. Like, we're not going to go there because I don't want to trigger anyone, but there was so much that happened in my life that really made me act out, right? Because I didn't know how to deal with my trauma. And so what that looked like for me moving forward from that happy, smiling little girl, if I were to name the next chapter, it would be A Lost Girl. This is actually my mugshot. I always say, how you a gangster with all that room on the top of your head? Like, I'm 5 foot nothing. And I'm real mad because all of y'all feet touch the floor and I'm like, do. But you can see just in her face how unhappy she is. So that led me to, I was fighting anyone and everyone. You could get these hands, feet, teeth, whatever. I would fight whoever. I was angry. I was drinking, smoking at an early age. And so that trauma sort of built up in me and I didn't have an outlet to release it. And when I say that hip hop saved my life, I literally mean that hip hop saved my life. It was the one thing that gave me my own voice, my own identity, the opportunity to share my story. So you would think I would have learned my lesson after getting arrested and going to jail. And actually, funny side story, my mom was a crossing guard at the time and they worked with the police department in Chicago. So they took me to the district that she worked at. Leave me in there. Just leave me in there. Like, I don't want to face my mom. I'd rather sit here than deal with my mom. And she definitely left me in there. She's like, until I'm not paying for anything, she could stay in there. So you would think I would have learned my lesson after that, right? Like, okay, here's your sign, change your life. And it wasn't. In 2004, I was in a car accident that left me in a coma. The car literally hit another car face first, wrapped around a pole, burst into flames. 2 off-duty police officers pulled us out of this car. I don't remember any of it because days later I woke up from Cook County Hospital in Chicago and had no idea what was going on. My life was supposed to end that day, and it literally says that in the newspaper article. That's the only reason why I know what happened, because I read it in a newspaper article. My life was supposed to end that day, and that's where my story would have ended. I wouldn't be sitting here with you all sharing any of this. And so this just reminds me, and this just shows me that, like, I need to be able to help other people to not have to deal with something like this, such a traumatic and life-changing experience. I had broken teeth, I had a contusion on my brain, I had to be helped to take a bath, I couldn't remember a lot of things. My freestyles, that's out the window, because I couldn't really, on the spot, think anymore. And so that was literally supposed to be the end of me, but it wasn't, because like a phoenix, we're gonna rise from the fire. Don't worry, there were no pinkies harmed in the making of this photo. But that's actually you all getting a sneak peek at the album that I'm releasing this year called Phoenix. Burr, 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 burr. And as a side note, I argue with my band all the time because I go fur, 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 and they say it's burr, 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 and I'm like,
no, it's a fuff.
It's a fuff. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I'll just have you talk
Linguists?
to me.
Are there any linguists?
Is it burr, burr, or burr, burr?
Air horn linguists?
Burr, burr. We'll have a whole 1 hour workshop on whether it's fur or burr. But a lot of people can't really pinpoint the moment where their life exactly shifted and changed, and I can. And literally from that fire, I became a new person. I became the first in my family to graduate from college with honors. From being arrested, I was teaching high school. I was gonna go to Japan to teach English. Listen, Japan does not believe in restorative justice. I packed my bags, I was ready to move and ready to go, and they found my arrest record. I was under 18, so it shouldn't have impacted anything. They found my arrest record and they didn't let me go to Japan, even though my students and I went and got petitions signed, politicians, the principal of the school I was teaching at, they didn't let me go. That same year, I got my first magazine cover, because this is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is my story. I get to represent for women. I got Selena on my shirt here because anything for Selena's okay.
All right.
But I get to represent for women all across the globe. I'm an educator. These are some of my beautiful students in Chicago. I teach hip hop, mental wellness, music, entrepreneurship in the city of Chicago and all over. I'm a panelist. Obviously, I'm doing that here, but I do this all over the world. This is me at A3C in Atlanta, the hip hop conference there, speaking on women in hip hop. I became an actress, so I play Rosina in the Rosina Project, which is the hip hop version of The Barber of Seville. And if we know, opera is not inclusive of any of us. So it's really cool to be able to take this story and flip it and make Rosina a bad, because she was real soft, right? And I was like, if I'm doing this, Rosina got to be like the baddest chick ever. And it's funny because I never had acted before other than telling one of my boyfriends that I like him more than the other. So it was like, you know, this was really cool. Like, I'm getting paid to do this. And I do hip hop diplomacy work as well. This is me in Cambodia. I get to travel overseas to teach hip hop programming. And interestingly enough, the young women in these photos had never picked up a pen to write a rap in their lives. After they left my classroom, the girl in the corner with the glasses, her name is Mora. She started her own hip hop nonprofit in Cambodia.
Come on.
When we talk about representation mattering, representation matters. But most importantly, is the fact that I can be a mental health advocate. All that trauma I faced that led me to where I was, I see my therapist once a week. Shout out to my therapist. I have a song that I wrote about her. Like, honestly, like that has been the most transformative thing, to be able to go within and look inside and see, who am I? What's my story? How do I share that with the world to help impact them, but also to help them veer from any of the negative paths that they're facing? So to end, I just want to share this quote, and it's, if you don't tell your story, someone else will. And more often than not, they're gonna get it wrong. So we have to be the writers, the change makers, the agents of our lives, and the storytellers to change the future. Thank you.
Come on now. Well, y'all don't really need me at all. I'm just gonna go back and play music, because over here, first of all, shouts to the adoptees in the house, because I'm adopted as well. And shouts to creating your own identity. I'm a grown man, I call myself Manny Faces. That's not my given name. My real name is Bobby Elbows. So, dad joke. So, some of y'all went into this, and I want to ask maybe someone else. The story, everyone has a hip hop origin story, and we kind of went into this. You talked about your path. Maybe on the end, not only your hip hop origin story, like when did you fall in love with hip hop? But when did you fall in love with the idea of using hip hop as an agent of a tool of change, specifically in the educational space or teaching young people? Because I think that's the greatest gift that we could have here, is that we can show how the art and culture can uplift lives of young people. We've done it ourselves. We know it inherently. How do we tell people outside of the culture, this is the moment I realized that this is a thing?
I'll jump on. One thing I want to say before we get into, excuse me for hijacking a little, you were talking about the idea of citing, and one thing I want to share with all of my hip hoppers, because it's a thing we always talk about, like, what is the difference between biting and inspiration? What is the difference between like stealing somebody's stuff and sampling? And really, it's as simple as citing. Cite your source. Even when you sample a record, you know that 4 bars where they play the sample unchanged before they drop the beat? That counts as citing it. If you want to take somebody's lyrics, you can just say blah, 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 like so-and-so said. It's simple. That's easy. Anyway, so me and my thing, I came up to, I grew up in St. Croix in the Virgin Islands, more territories people. I came up to New York to be an actor. And I was working in this law firm doing, the mail and things like that. And my idea, talk to Mom-elect, we got to have the practical thing, right? So we're going to go to law school, we're going to be a lawyer, we'll do some plays in between and all that stuff. And the lawyers I worked for seemed cool. They worked for Tupac's mom. So, they had platinum records up in the thing. And I was like, okay, I'm going to learn music stuff and things like that. And they also represented the police who shot Amadou Diallo, who I'm not sure if you remember that brother, but he was an immigrant who was shot more than 40 times by the police. It was a whole thing. And when they came in the room popping champagne bottles, I realized this wasn't my place. I couldn't make the change I wanted to. I talked to the lawyers, and they were like, you're either going to end up burnt out as a public defender, or you're going to sell out and just go make money. And this led me heavy into my art. started performing all around New York City, you know, doing everything I could to make bread doing it too, because I was like eventually trying to leave this job. And someone asked me to come and perform for, I think it was like 8th grade or 7th grade student class. I'd never done that before, and it was amazing the change I saw. It's great performing for drunk people in clubs, that's fine. You know, they vibe with you, but they don't necessarily know what's going on. And when an 8th grader was like, so in the second song, in the 3rd stanza, you were saying this thing. I was like, whoa, y'all really listening to this stuff here. And I realized that this was a place where I could grow and make some change. And one of the things about it is I always felt like I never fit into places, you know, ethnic identity stuff, Caribbean identity stuff, all sorts of things. And hip hop is the place where you can find your activity identity. You know, what you do is who you are. And I was able to not only take all of my other identities into rooms where people said that we didn't belong, but I was able to use the hip hop pedagogy to prove that we belong, to show that what we do in the classroom is like Montessori but has more substance, to show that what we do on street corners is more theater than Shakespeare in the Park, to show that how we vibe with people is not a metaphorical artsy thing but a literal physical physics reverberation of sound bouncing off your chest and hitting me back, creating a connection that's visceral. And that's when I realized this matters and this can help people the way that it helped me. So that's when I started really getting into hip-hop education. I was working with Claudia Alec and Smoking Word, doing all sorts of wonderful things with them. And I realized it didn't matter to me what I liked. It mattered that I had a rhythm that I could share with each other. Like, I remember I was at this hip-hop education conference, and they were like, the kids don't listen to Biggie anymore. And? Like, that's cool. Like, listen to Big, young folks. Big is dope, right? But like, you know, when I was a kid, you know, there weren't people like, oh, kids don't listen to Hendrix anymore. We knew who Hendrix was, but you know, we were bumping the things that were around us now. And it's important for us to make sure that we're listening more than we're speaking. And that's the big part of education. That's the cipher. Yeah. Y'all know, like, ciphers aren't about you. Ciphers are about us. It's about you listening and inspiring the next person. That's what we're trying to do on this stage, and that's what we're trying to do in all of the ciphers we create.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Madeline, you said you're about just getting the teaching leg started, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So that transformation from kind of, you know, participant or practitioner to teacher, what made you say, I got to do this, I got to?
Yeah, I was, you know, fortunate enough to live in New York for, you know, 5 years or a little bit longer, like learning straight from the source. And so if I have all of this knowledge, like straight from the elders and some of the OGs, like it wouldn't make sense if I just held on to it. So that's really why, you know, it wouldn't make sense to hold on to it. Like that's the whole point, is just to pass it on. You know, yeah.
That's all right. That's it. For those that are kind of in the classroom setting or in the educational, doing it already, what would be some examples where you saw it spark in someone's eye, that you've made something, a connection that they weren't expecting in an education space through the use of hip hop? I know you mentioned the young lady, I think, who started a nonprofit from the, now you're like, oh yeah, I'm doing something important, this is working. So were there other like yes moments?
Yeah, absolutely. So to sort of veggie back on what a dialect was saying, and shout out to my friend Adam Seven. He says veggie back instead of piggybacking for all the vegetarians out there. You're welcome.
Kill two birds. Kill two birds with one scone.
We're not killing birds, though. We're not killing birds.
Feed two birds with one scone. Is that it?
Yeah. I like that. I like that. So as we know, you can't, you know, be what you can't see, right? If there's no representation of what this looks like for you, you can't be that. And at dinner yesterday, Marlon and I were talking about the young man who performed yesterday. I don't know if he's here, but he said that he had a mentor since he was 12 years old in hip hop. And I just think, like, how much further would I be if I had that?
Right.
I didn't, right? And thank goddess that I'm here, right? But what do I now do with this incredible gift that I was given? And teaching was the natural thing for me to do, right? Like, because how can I help propel a young person to be in an even greater position than me? There's no competition here. I want you to be better than I ever was. Right. And so one of my students just won an award, a $2,000 award. I could use $2,000. She's a high school student, right? So she won, and she didn't even think that she, first of all, my young women, my young men in my classroom, I'm a rapper, I got bars. My young women, they'll shy back. They don't want to claim that. Every young woman in my classroom now says she's an MC. And that's the other thing, is that element of like, yeah, there's a rapper, then there's an MC, right? That knowledge component, and they're doing that now. And so she won this award in a space that she didn't even think she belonged in, and my job was to remind her. So she was receiving her award, and you know, there was very little people of color in the audience in this like gala, banquet, whatever. And I'm just like, oh, come on. So I'm constantly, because she's nervous, and I'm constantly reminding her, you deserve to be in this space. You deserve to be in this space. You deserve to be in this space. Once they played her piece that she won with, everybody was flocking. There was a line to see her and to big her up. And that's what we need to be doing in these educational spaces, is uplifting our youth. And I forgot who it was that mentioned, I believe it was you, about paying young people. Pay them money for their talent and their art. Stop exploiting them, right? And if you don't have the money, then find the money. Because someone wants to give you money for supporting these young people. And y'all back there, y'all killed it yesterday. Killed it yesterday.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to seeing you on award show stages. Like, y'all killed it. And soon enough, y'all are going to be making a lot of money for what you do, because y'all are incredible.
Word.
Blessings.
That's what's up. Yeah.
I think that's some OGs in the house. Some OGs? I got, a little bit. Oh, okay, a little bit. I got a question for y'all. I'm gonna see. Y'all ready? Are your eyes still green, girl? Are we living in a dream world? Okay. Arguing, but I can't keep it bottled in. Jealousy. We gotta swallow it. Your heart and mind, baby, follow it. So I'll keep going. But so what I wanted to say in reference to that question, I'm in the 10th grade classroom. I'm at DeSoto High School in Texas. Love it.
All right.
Hey, all right. And so, quick aside note, I started my teaching career at South Oak Cliff, Golden Bears. All right. And it's Marcellus in the house. And shout out to my friend Prince. He flew here from Dallas to give me support, so I really appreciate it for that. And so I was there, and I said, I need to teach foreshadowing. How can I teach foreshadowing, right? And so we put that video on. And if you remember the video, Common has the cards, right? And he just speaking. And so I started asking questions. I was like, why do you think Common is using the cards to convey his message? So my students, they were like, well, we think it's just romantic. We think it. And so the students were making conclusions, and they was basing inferences. And even from Texas, you know, we have this thing called the pair selection before they got rid of it for STAR test, 9th grade, 10th grade, so where you compare two selections, and then you write a concise, I think it was like 10 lines comparing them both, and you got to cite evidence, things of that nature. So I was comparing and contrasting selections. And so I was like, I need to teach y'all foreshadowing. I need to help y'all with that. Let's get into it. And so the students were making all of these different conclusions, using the video to draw inference in, and then they got into a nice debate about what happens, you know? And so I stopped it right before he does his thing. And so the students are saying, well, we think he's gonna ask her out on a date. We think he's gonna do this. So when he pulls the card off and it's the ring, and then you see her do the sign language, you can see the light bulbs just go off in their head. And it was like, wow, he was using that because she was deaf. And so when I saw that, I was like, there's a place, and there's a place to teach some of these old concepts in a new and a fresh and engaging way. And another quote that we used, and then I remember having, that really motivated me. I remember I was in a class, and it was Shakespeare, and I was getting my English teaching license, and I really didn't like Shakespeare. It wasn't my thing. But the teacher taught it with so much passion, and it might be Richard III, don't quote me, but he said the pen is mightier than the sword. And then I remember hearing Jay-Z say, the pen is mightier than the sword, my Lord. My first pick was a lineup. Now I'm on the Forbes, right? And so I put that quote there, and I had students write about it. And that was just my interest. Every time I would put a hip-hop quote up there, that's the game for the underdog. You had the underdog, long as I've been going off, Ross. right? And then I do another question like, how does that compare to a mentality or underdog mentality? And students would see that on the board and they would write about it. And it just instilled a love of writing for them. So that's how.
That's what's up. I appreciate that. Moving on, kind of that idea. I'm gonna start at the end. Maybe we could just run down. So dance. First of all, dance is underappreciated as still like a formidable. I have an old lady that I talk to sometimes about hip hop, and she doesn't know anything about hip hop. So I try to gauge, like, what does she know? She says, well, I used to like the breakdancing. That was nice. And I'm like, it hasn't gone anywhere. First of all, it's not called breakdance, breaking. But it hasn't gone anywhere. It still exists, and of course now we see it on some really large stages. So just shouts to the fact that dance is so important. Not just my point here, though, is that it's not just dance for fun, which you brought up at the beginning. It's not just coming up and showing up and doing some things. There's all kind of work that goes into it. I interviewed B-boy Frankie from Queens, and this every dancer I've spoken to. And I guess there's maybe one here, maybe run this thing, who could attest to this. It's not just the physicality, the dance that you're teaching. When you're teaching young people, especially to dance, you're teaching them confidence. You're teaching them self-confidence, self-esteem. And I may have answered the question for you, but what life skills do you transfer through this music and culture and art to young people through your work?
Through dance, I mean, dance on its own is like there's so much multitasking involved with, the timing and what you all did yesterday with your speaking in addition to thinking about, all that. That was super impressive. But yeah, it's, you learn communication really because half of communication is listening first. So you learn to listen to the music and, just learn to read each other and, different types of intelligences that you can build through dance as well, like social, emotional intelligence, what just triggered me to be upset? Let me just work it out through my dance. Sometimes when words don't quite, they're not as perfect example right now. I'm just gonna dance it out because
yes.
So it's really that outlet to express pain, but also hold on to joy as well.
There you go. What do you get when you?
Yeah, so I'm not a movement cat. I make my words dance because my body isn't doing all of that. I remember I did my first one-person show, and I had a director who was a popper and locker because I was like, yeah, he's gonna choreograph some good stuff. He choreographed some good stuff, and I did not look good doing it. When it comes to hip hop and understanding, one of the big things about me as an educator is the multiple intelligences, the Howard Gardner stuff. And hip hop is the thing that not only proves that multiple intelligence is real, but also shows how academia does it terribly wrong all the time. Oh, it's heartbreaking. But you look at hip hop, the fact that hip hop exists and breaking is still a part of it, graffiti is still a part of it, even despite all the machinations of capitalism, is because it's all the ways that we express, right? We dance, we use visual art, we talk, we music. All of the ways that we express are also all the ways that we learn. So it's really important for us to figure out what our tendencies are as movement people. It's not just that you're dancers or choreographers. Like you said, there's the SEL component of it because there are so many things that we really can't express. I'm working on a project right now about finance where we're talking about the feeling you get before you buy something. Y'all know, but before you buy something, you get that feeling of oh, should I? And I've been trying to verbalize it, and it's really difficult to put into words. So we're working with some dance groups about doing a short piece about what does that feeling actually look like when you're there? And it's amazing to be able to articulate that. DJs like yourself, I mean, you see all the work that Manny does that's not just spinning a record and bringing back the four, but photographers are DJs, directors are DJs, people who see a moment and can recontextualize it in a way that makes you see something you didn't know that was already there. as an MC, it was my job not only to be the journalist for the community, but also to be an educator. Even if I didn't end up a teacher, all of us MCs are bringing someone to a place and making sure they understand things. That's the important part, move the crowd, motivate the community, all the acronyms you want to use about these things. And I think it's really important for us to understand where we're at in our, what part of hip hop is really important to us and what works for us, so that we can assess for our students, and especially for our teachers. Because one of the big things is y'all know every teacher ever, even if they were whack, was an MC, right? Yeah, you didn't have to like them, but you had to respect them. They had to get up on a stage and use rhythm to impart an idea on y'all. And they used call and response, and sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't. When it didn't work, it's because they was whack MCs.
Right.
But our teachers, our educators, those of y'all who want to get into education yourself, look into the tenets of MCing. Look at all those angles. Those will help you get students to where they want to be. Those things are really important. So that's my thing on MCing. Movement, I think, a thing I want to say about movement before we move on is movement is the central piece of it. As MCs, we take over too much. You see me, I'm already talking too much. But our job is to describe the things that's going on. We let them know, hey, your car is double parked out there. Oh, it's DJ Manny Faces on the wheels. And check out the B-boys and B-girls getting down on the floor. It's all about helping people move. Because if we don't help people move, then we maintain the status quo.
I think I like that. Dance. Well, let me start. Gotta do the lyrics. That's what I do. I can't stop, won't stop. Won't see me complaining about what I don't got. Why? Because if I want it, I'ma go get it. I say, okay, all right. We got some Dolph fans in here. R.I.P. to Dolph. And so that's what I think about in reference to music and dance. And I used to say that to my students all the time. Can't stop, and we won't stop. And Nick, that's my fellow EDLD alum. He know whenever we go out, after I feel good, I'm dancing like Diddy the whole time. And that's really my only moves that I can do. I got the little shuffle and I hit you with the can't stop, won't stop. Bad boy. Come on. I like this. So that's it, just dancing with joy. And I think that hip hop incorporates that. When you dancing and you joyful and you feel good about yourself and you look good, you feel good. Shout out to Deion Sanders, then you play good. And so just using that movement, whether it's dancing, to go across whatever it is that you have.
Think life skills that you get from all this?
Yeah, absolutely. So it makes me think of the long forgotten element of hip hop, and I'm so glad we're at a hip hop conference because we know this, but a lot of people don't, which is knowledge, right? And so one of the life skills that we teach through this work is knowledge of the culture, right? Where did we come from? How did we use this as a way to express the ills that were happening in our underserved and purposefully excluded communities? Language matters, right? We're not marginalized. We've been marginalized. They're pushing us to the side, right? And so knowledge of the culture, of what hip hop stands for, of the elements, but then knowledge of self, right? Which is the really, really important thing. And as hip hop educators, we get to do that. So for me, some of the life skills that come from that sort of knowledge of self is emotion regulation. That young girl you saw in that picture with all that room on the top of her, my little mug shot, the way that I regulated my emotions was writing songs. And it was funny because I would write songs as if it wasn't me. I'm telling you this story about this girl. And as I go back and listen to that music, I'm like, that was me, but I didn't want to claim that yet, or I wasn't ready to share that story. So through hip hop, I was able to regulate my emotions. I was able to tell my story. And most importantly, it's about legacy building, right? How do we use our narratives, our dances, our pieces, our work as educators to help young people understand that they have a legacy too, right? That they have all of the rights to these spaces and places. We're at Harvard right now, and we are killing it. I would much rather hear from us than some professor somewhere, unless it's Aisha, obviously. Obviously. But this is connecting, right? That's the other thing, is connection, right? How do we show you that your story matters? How do we validate your narrative? And then just mental wellness. I talk to my students about my therapy sessions. I tell them about all of the different ways that I'm changing and learning. stop them when they're doing something that might be problematic and let them understand and realize like, oh, what can I do to shift this or change this, or how can I do this differently? Like, these are all things that we could teach through this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful like umbrella of hip hop and the elements that underlie it. But really, like, it comes down to the knowledge, right? Once you know yourself, to thyself be true, right? Once you know yourself, then you're able to share your story in an authentic way, and then we can have records of our stories. That's not existing, right? Like, we've got these, you know, and a lot of my students don't want to be professional rappers, but you best believe you have a song now that you're going to show your kids when you're older, like, I used to do the hippity hops and the rappity raps, you know?
Right.
And that's important. How do we get our stories on paper and then out to the world, our stories?
Not to mention every rapper that, thank you, that wasn't, don't let me stop it, keep it going. Don't me. It's the MC and me, right? Right. Not to mention every rapper, even if you don't make it to, you know, being a rapper, you become a better public speaker. You better, you know, you're better in front of crowds. You're better in front of your peers, and you can lead a meeting at work better. And all these things happen, like transferable life skills.
And you've archived your work.
That's 100%.
Too.
So we're gonna wrap it up in a few. So I got one last question against all the way down the panel, if y'all would indulge me. I don't know if y'all heard about this podcast. It's called Hip Hop Can Save America. It's a very good podcast, very exceptional, very talented and handsome host. Check it out sometime. When I interview folks, and Dialect's been on it, everyone else is open. In fact, everyone on here could be on this show. It's called that because I thought that, well, I know that hip hop has the tools and the ability, sort of in an unparalleled way, to specifically address societal ills that we face in this country and throughout the world. But I'm starting here. And we've seen that, we've talked about it sometimes in some regard today with education specifically. But when I ask everyone at the end of the show, and I figured it'd be a good question to ask and go down the line, why do people who are not familiar, as we are, most of us are, with hip hop music and culture as a tool for, you know, uplifting humanity and improving society, they don't know about this. This is new to a lot of people. This is unheard of to a lot of people. Why do they, and the rest of the world, country in the world, need to consider hip hop as a viable, necessary pathway to helping save our country, our society? Your thoughts?
And I think it's hip hop really does speak for itself. It's, you know, global. You have every local community, like all over the world, and I mean, I personally fell in love with it for its, you know, wordplay and storytelling, just the capacity for storytelling in such a, you know, you just pack so much in like a short period of bars. I'm like, whoa. And then, you know, someone like who comes from outside the culture, you know, that would be a reaction like, oh, you might have to repeat that. I didn't get that. You know, so I just think that like literally packed, jam-packed, impactful, and just the social justice imperative, you know, in the music, and liberation. So, in a word.
Yeah.
I know, I'm right there with you trying to break it all the way down. I think like at its simplest, hip hop allows us to understand ourselves and understand our place in society and to be okay with that and to share in ways that are meaningful. And when we can understand, when we can share, when we can see ourselves in each other's stories, in each other's identities, then we can be a real community. Circles destroy all lines, and that's how we make infinity.
That's what's up.
Drop that mic.
Come on.
Drop
now.
that mic, but don't, because we don't got the money. But
You should rap.
Maybe
should be a rapper.
Saying.
Say something.
Try it sometime.
Man, I love it. That was dope.
I'm just trying to get on your quote list.
Hey, I'm gonna quote it too.
There you go.
I think at the very essence of hip hop is transformative, because I made the change from a common thief to up close and personal with Robin Leach.
Come on.
I smokes with my and we spread love. It's the
Brooklyn way, okay.
You know, birthdays was the worst days. Now we sip champagne when we thirsty. Dang right, I like the life I live, because I went from negative to positive, and it's all good. And if you don't know,
now you know.
Baby.
I love it. And so I think that's what hip hop has the ability to do, to transform. And so for me, it transformed my identity and it gave me purpose. And it allowed me to dream outside of my circumstances because it was all a dream.
On with it.
Killing me.
You think this was rehearsed? This was all
Killing me.
Yo, can I steal it real quick? Yo, isn't it a beautiful thing that we know all the words to this instead of all the words to some commercial jingle that we all grew up with?
Let's go. Yep.
So funny story, as I was going to the Starbucks in my hotel, the white lady that was serving me was like, "You look fantastic. Where are you going?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna do a keynote and performance at Harvard." She stopped in her tracks. The confusion on her face, because she looked at me and was like, it's like that meme, the lady like doing the calculations. It's the math ain't mathin' for me. And the funny thing is that the black worker that was there was like, "Wait, what? Tell me more. Rap is life." And I'm like, this is why it matters.
Yes.
Right? Because we don't need anyone to validate us. We validate ourselves. And as we talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion,
Right?
bring hip hop to the table. This is the language of black and brown people.
Everywhere. Yep.
So bring hip hop into the room, and you're gonna find that it can connect so many different generations and people. Going overseas to do hip hop diplomacy, I remember the young people there all wanted to be trap rappers. Because this is what the media was pushing, and this is what they're seeing, and they don't have access to, to the knowledge, or who is Ciroc, who is Rhapsody, who's Shauna from Chicago, who's Pinky Ring, or Ringy Pinky. And so when I started playing these other musicians for them, and they didn't want to rap in their own language, they wanted to rap in English. So once I showed them these other videos, and then I started spitting my Spanglish bars, let me tell you, they were all boom bap rappers after this.
Go.
And that's why representation matters. And hip hop is the ultimate representation of who we are, what we are, and why we are.
Come on
Period.
with it. Come on with it. Put your hands together for this amazing panel of wonderful, wonderful people. Thank you, Aisha. Thank you, Harvard. We appreciate it.
Harvard.
All right. And we got a whole long day, so don't go nowhere. Let's go.
All right.
I got you.
I just want to lift up that it might not be fun or bumper, but it might be more of a nebulous
Okay.
Switzerland on it.
We need a
It's
debate at
neutral.
this at the end of the day.
We need a poll. Let's put a poll in the Zoom.
Is it It's more of a
I need a freestyle battle debate about this.
Absolutely. One more again for Manny Faces, Rinky Pink, Brandon, Dialect, and Matalouche. So for those joining us from the Interweb Landia Zoom Nation, you can go hit your breakout links. Don't stay in this room. It's just gonna be blank until we come back again after lunch and have some amazing performances. For folks in the room, you can make your way to the other breakout spaces that you wanna go check out. We got a lot of freshness up deck first. I know we got Unlearn. I know we got the real young prodigies. I know we got Michelangelo Hayes. What else do we got? Dr. Janelle Robinson and Alice Soy and her students from New Bridges. So take a moment, figure out where you want to be, where you want to go, make that happen. Let's keep it moving.
This is a world premiere. This is a world premiere.
I done been through a whole lot. Trial, tribulation, but I know God. Satan wanna put me in a bow tie. Pray that the holy water don't go dry, yeah. As I look around me, so many motherfuckers wanna down me. But they don't never drown me. In front of a dirty double mirror, they found me. And I love myself. The world is a ghetto, big guns and dick, I love myself. But they can do what they want when they crazy. What you gonna do? Lift up your head and keep moving. But let the paranoia haunt you. Peace the fashion police, I wear my heart on my sleeve. Let the runway start. You know the miserable do love company. What do you want from me? My scars. Everybody lack confidence. Everybody lack confidence. How many times my potential was anonymous? How many times the city making me promises? So I promise this. I love myself. The world is a ghetto with guns and dick signs. I love myself. But they can do what they want whenever they want. I don't mind. I love myself. You said I gotta get up. Nice and more than suicide. I love myself. One day at a time. Sun go shine. They wanna say it's a war outside and a bomb in the street and a gun in the hood and a mob of police and a rock on the corner and a line full of fiend and a bottle full of lean and a motto on a scheme. Yeah. These days are frustrating. I duck these cold faces, post up, feed 5-4 for bases. Dreams are reality's piece. Blow steam in the face of the beast. The sky can fall down, the wind can cry now. The strong in me, I still smile. I love myself. The world is a ghetto with guns and dick signs. I love myself. But they can do what they want whenever they want. I don't mind. I love myself. You said I gotta get up, nice and more than suicide. I love myself. One day at a time, sun go shine. Walk my bare feet, walk my bare feet. Down, down, valley deep. Down, down, valley deep. I love myself. 5-4 feet, 5-4. I love myself. Heart undone, my heart on. I love myself.
The world is a ghetto with guns and dick signs. I love myself. But they can do what they want whenever they want. I don't mind. I love myself. You said I gotta get up. Life is more than suicide. I love myself. One day at a time. Sun go shine.
I went to war last night. With a heart of medic weapon, don't nobody call a medic. I'ma do it till I get it right. I went to war last night. I've been dealing with depression ever since I had a lesson. I can never yell a blessing. I can never see the message. I can never take the lead. I can never rub and weed from a negative and letting them annihilate me. And it's everything I'm moving at a really speed. Finna run into a building, lay my body in the street. Keep my money in the ceiling, let my mama know I'm free. Give my story to the children and a lesson they can read. And the glory to the feeling of the holy unseen. Seen enough, make a motherfucker scream. I love myself. I lost my head. I must explain what the people say. Oh, baby, it's a trouble inside. Yeah, myself again till the well runs dry.
We got love, love, love. You better believe it. We got love, love, love. You better believe it.
I got house in the carriage, yeah. I got black love and marriage, yeah. They gon' say you can't have it, but I'm like, don't kill the messenger. We gon' break the stigma up. Huxtables turn to Obamas. It ain't about where you been, where you from, what you got. It's all about love. Self-love is the best love. When you gon' take that wristband off, that petite party bent over. Don't need makeup to dress you up. I gave birth on the bathroom floor. Just me, Iman, and headphone calls. Don't let this life defeat you. I hope this message reach you. Throw your hands up. Play catch with the hundreds. Love is the new money. I'm just chillin' with the homies. Homies where the heart is. Throw your hands up. Play catch with the hundreds. Love is the new money. I'm just chillin' with the homies. Homies where the heart is.
Love, love, love. You better believe it. We got love, love, love. You better believe it.
I live in abundance. Love is the new money. I'm mentally wealthy, spiritually conscious. I'm fresh out of Onyx. I'm ballin' and ballin'. I play with the hundreds. Love is the new money. That's my frequency. Spark up, burn the sage. Clear the room, kill the hate. Love is the new wave. Play catch with the hundreds. Love is the new money. I'm just chillin' with the homies. Homies where the heart is. Play catch with the hundreds. Love is the new money. I'm just chillin' with the homies. Homies where the heart is.
Love, you better believe that. We got love, you better believe that.
Play catch with the hundreds. Love is the new money. I'm just chillin' with the homies. Homies where the heart is. Play catch with the hundreds. Love is the new money. I'm just chillin' with the homies. Homies where the heart is.
My dad's gonna be so proud. He's gonna be like, yes, that's change your rap name, why don't you?
You better watch your step.
That's it.
sick for this one.
Many faces.
You sick for this one.
Many faces.
You sick for this one.
Yes. It's me again.
Yeah.
And I'm back.
TLC on the remix.
Baby.
Like that.
Yeah. Baby. been through so many things. I love my man with all honesty, but I know he's cheating on me. Yeah, I look him in his eyes, but all it tells me is lies to keep me near. I'll never leave him down, though I might mess around. It's only 'cause I need some affection. Oh, so I creep, yeah, just keep it on the down low, so nobody is so close tonight. So I creep, yeah, 'cause he doesn't know what I do, and no attention goes to show. Oh, so I think about us, baby, all the time. But you know that I'm gonna need some attention. Yeah, yeah, can you shake it to me? Love you forever, baby. So am I. But you gotta know if you don't give it, I'ma get mine. Yeah, yeah. Oh, ah, oh, ah, oh, ah. Baby. Oh, ah, oh, ah, oh, ah.
Worldwide,
Yeah.
everybody free.
Oh, ah, oh, ah.
Yeah.
Baby.
Check it.
Oh, ah, oh, ah, oh, ah.
Yeah. On the remix. TLC represent.
I creep around because I need attention. I don't mess around with my affection. Yeah, I creep around because I need attention. I don't mess around with my affection. Yeah,
Just put my song.
Thank you, DJ. Thank you. That was good. Yes. Thank you. Very. You know what I mean? Like, man, you buster or something like that. Exactly. You gotta have tough skin.
That's pinkies. This lips here.
Yeah, call you up.
And I was like, all right. And I remember thinking to myself, like, oh, I'm ready, Slim. I just want to live it. Like, you,
Right,
oh, yeah.
exactly. You just don't know. Right. Oh, exactly. They give you that respect.
Then they know, like, this is who the person is. But that's what it's authenticity, you know?
Exactly. It's relatable.
Yes.
You know, a lot of people love when people are relatable.